Hello! Today we'll be making op art. Op is short for optical illusion. Optical illusions make pictures appear like they are moving, have hidden images, or are vibrating or warping. To start, we'll be looking at some of the work of M.C. Escher, one of the most famous op art artists. Here you can see his self-portrait. Let's look at some examples of Escher's op art. Our first example shows two hands that are drawing each other. This is clearly not real. The hands themselves are 3D. They look like they're coming out of the paper, yet they are drawing the sleeve of the other hand, which looks flat. Our second example shows impossible staircases. These staircases could not exist in real life. If you take a close look, the people on some of these staircases, if these were real, would be falling off of them. Let's get started with your project. First thing you're going to want to do is use a pencil to trace your hand onto a piece of paper. Next, you're going to want to set up your paper to draw some straight lines across it. I'm using a ruler to actually measure out how far apart I want my lines. However, if you don't have a ruler, just try to make some marks that are even up and down on your paper. It is very important to do this next step exactly as I show you. You are going to be drawing straight lines across your paper, but you need to pick up your pencil and stop your line anytime that line reaches part of your traced hand. So my first line, I stopped on either side of my ring finger and my middle finger. As you move down further, you'll have to pick up your pencil and start a new line more often. So when you get to each finger, you'll be picking up your pencil quite a few times. When you get to your palm, you'll just need to pick your pencil up once to have a line on either side of your palm. We didn't draw any straight lines across your fingers. That is because your next step is on each finger where you have the lines on either side, you are going to be drawing a curved line across that finger. You'll do the same thing once you get down to the palm. When drawing these curves, you want to try not to make them too tall. You want them to be sort of like a gentle hill instead of a tall mountain. Right now, I'm making some adjustments to where I had my fingers end and touch my palm, just because I was afraid I'd have some difficulty doing these curves correctly. I've moved on to my palm now, so these curved lines on your palm are just a gentle curve that are going to go from one side to the other. Where my thumb meets my palm, I decided to add one little dip just so there would be a difference between the palm and the thumb. Your next step is to color. You'll need to pick at least 2 colors. First step, pick the color you want to start with in your pattern. You are only coloring one section at a time, so one straight line across, connecting to those lines, the curved lines in your fingers. How you're going to want to start is by outlining the side of the finger, so the 2 sides of the finger, later the palm. Then you're going to press down pretty hard with your colored pencil. You can also use crayon. Marker is not great for this project. And the most important thing to remember when coloring is on the outside of your fingers should be where your darkest coloring is, where you're going to press the hardest with your colored pencil or your crayon. In between the fingers, where the straight lines are, you're going to go from dark to medium to somewhat light. On the fingers themselves, as you move up or inside of the finger more, you're going to keep it kind of dark, then go to medium, and in the middle should be your lightest. The reason we are coloring our project this way is so that our hands look like they are actually raising up out of the paper. So the hands themselves are going to look 3D, whereas the paper is still going to look flat. This op art project will take you some time to color. You do want your coloring to be pretty smooth, so that will take you more time than usual. So my suggestion for this would be to do just a little bit of coloring each day. So remember, coloring this way makes the fingers and then the rest of the hand look like they are actually raised up off of the paper. I'm going to go ahead and speed this up a little bit so that you can see what my progress looks like. When you're coloring, you want to color in a pattern. So if you're just using two colors, like me, the way I'm going to color is this magenta and then blue, magenta, blue, magenta, blue. You can see that I've colored my palm the same way as I did my fingers, except that space is just bigger. Here's an example of this same project, except I used crayon. So you can see that crayon will work for this project as well. I would avoid using markers for this project. Here's a quick review of the project. First step, you need to trace your hand onto your paper. Second step, you're going to need to use a ruler or something else with a straight edge to draw some straight lines across your paper. They need to stop anytime they touch your hand. In the spaces in your fingers and your palm, you will draw curved lines. To begin coloring, you need at least two colors. When you color, the most important thing to remember is on the sides of your hands where they touch the straight lines, that's going to be the darkest part of your coloring. And then as you move away from those areas, your coloring will get lighter and lighter. I hope that you'll enjoy this project. I think it's a lot of fun. Remember, spread this one out over a few days. Don't feel like you need to get the whole thing colored in one day. It will take you some time. Thanks so much. Take care.